The massive alien ship moved through space like a silver whale swimming through black water. Its name was Harmony's Edge, and it carried beings from 12 different worlds. They had been traveling for 3 months to reach this small yellow star at the edge of the galaxy. The ship's computers called it Sol, and somewhere near it was a planet called Earth. Commander Zethkar stood on the bridge looking at the view screen. He was tall and blue with 4 arms and eyes that could see colors humans had no names for. His people, the Altarians, had been exploring space for thousands of years. They had met hundreds of different species, but this mission felt different. The reports about Earth made no sense. "Commander, we are getting closer to the 3rd planet," said Dr. Velnara. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms. Her people looked like giant insects, but were some of the smartest beings in the galaxy. "The readings are still the same. This cannot be right." Zethkar moved closer to look at her screen. The numbers made him feel sick. "Show me again," he said. Velnara touched her control panel. "The planet has extreme weather systems, massive storms that could destroy cities. The ground shakes and breaks open. Hot melted rock shoots out of holes in the surface. The air has poison gas. The water is full of salt and acid. The temperature changes are huge." "And you say thinking beings live there?" asked Captain Morden from across the bridge. He was a warrior from a race that looked like walking rocks. He had fought on the worst battlefields in the galaxy, but Earth scared him. "According to our information, yes," Velnara said. "But sir, this planet is rated as Class 12 on our danger scale. Nothing that thinks should be able to live there. We use planets like this only for mining, and even then our workers need full protection suits." Zethkar rubbed his forehead with one of his hands. The Galactic Council had sent them here to make first contact with a new species called humans. The Council's computers said these humans had developed space travel and radio signals, but every scan of their planet showed it was a Deathworld. "Maybe the computers made a mistake," Morden said. "Maybe the signals come from somewhere else." "No. Mistake?" said Lieutenant Kexara from the communications station. She looked like a tall cat with silver fur. "The signals are definitely coming from the planet, and sir, we are getting a new signal right now." The bridge became quiet. Zethkar straightened his uniform. "Put it on the speakers." A voice filled the bridge. It sounded calm and friendly. "Unknown vessel, this is Earth Control at Johnson Space Center. We can see you on our tracking systems. Please identify yourself. We mean no harm and hope you feel the same way." The aliens looked at each other. The voice sounded so normal, so peaceful. It was hard to believe it came from beings living on such a dangerous world. "This is Commander Zethkar of the Galactic Council ship Harmony's Edge," he said into his communicator. "We come in peace to make contact with your people." There was a pause. Then the voice came back, and now it sounded excited. "This is incredible. We have been waiting for this day for so long. I am Jake Morrison, director of the Earth Space Agency. Would you be willing to meet with us?" On Earth, Jake Morrison was trying very hard to stay calm. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. Around him, the control room was full of people working at computers and talking in excited whispers. "Dr. Carter, are you getting all this?" Jake asked the woman next to him. Dr. Lisa Carter was the world's top expert on the possibility of alien life. She was young, with brown hair and sharp green eyes. She had spent years thinking about what aliens might be like. "Yes, and Jake. Their ship is amazing. It's huge and the technology readings are off the charts." Danny Wright, the communications expert, was a short man with thick glasses who was very good with electronics. He looked up from his control panel. "Sir, they want to know if we can meet them in space. They seem worried about coming down to Earth." Jake thought for a moment. "Tell them we can send up a small ship to meet them. Dr. Carter, Danny, you come with me. This is the most important day in human history." Back on the alien ship, Zethkar was reading the information his computers had gathered about Earth. The more he read, the more confused he became. "Sir," Velnara said, "I have been studying their planet for the last hour. The readings are correct. This world should not have intelligent life." "What do you mean?" Zethkar asked. Velnara brought up images on the main screen. Look at this. Their planet is covered with water that moves in giant waves. The land has mountains that spit fire. The air moves in circles fast enough to destroy buildings. The ground is covered with plants and animals that would be deadly on most worlds. Captain Morden joined them at the screen. Those animals, he said, pointing at images the ship's scanners had taken. Some of them are huge. Those water creatures could swallow our ship. And look at those land animals with the sharp teeth and claws. The worst part, Velnara continued, is that the humans live everywhere on this planet, not just in safe places. They have cities near the fire mountains. They have towns where the big storms hit. They swim in water with those huge creatures. Zethkar felt a chill run through his body. Are you saying these humans are not afraid of their own planet? Sir, I think they do not know their planet is dangerous, Velnara said. Or maybe they are so tough that they do not care. An hour later, a small Earthship docked with Harmony's Edge. Jake Morrison, Dr. Carter, and Danny Wright floated through the docking tube, wearing simple spacesuits. When they entered the alien ship, they were met by Commander Zethkar and his team. The meeting started well. The humans seemed friendly and excited. They brought gifts from Earth, including pictures, music, and food. The aliens gave them star charts and small pieces of technology, but as they talked, the aliens became more and more worried. Jake Morrison spoke about Earth like it was a wonderful place to live. He showed them pictures of cities, families, and natural places that looked beautiful. This is Yellowstone Park, Jake said, showing them images of hot springs and geysers. Millions of people visit every year. It is one of our most popular vacation spots. Zethkar looked at the pictures with growing horror. His computers told him those hot springs were hot enough to melt metal. The geysers shot boiling water hundreds of feet into the air. People go there for fun? He asked. Oh yes, Dr. Carter said with a smile. People love to camp there and see the wildlife. Bears, wolves, buffalo. It is amazing. Velnara almost fainted. The creatures Dr. Carter called bears were larger than most of the galaxy's known predators. And humans are not afraid of these bears? Danny Wright laughed. Well, we respect them, but people see bears all the time. My family goes camping in bear country every summer. You just have to be smart about it. The aliens exchanged looks. These humans talked about living with deadly predators like it was normal. They visited places that would kill most galactic species in minutes. Commander, Dr. Carter said, we are so excited to learn about other worlds. We hope some of them might be good places for humans to visit or even live. Zethkar's blood went cold. These beings wanted to leave their death world and go to other planets. He thought about the peaceful garden worlds where his people lived. What would happen if these incredibly tough humans visited them? We should return to our ships, Zethkar said carefully. We need to report to the Galactic Council. This has been very educational. As the humans said goodbye and returned to their ship, the alien crew gathered on the bridge. They all looked shaken. Sir, Morden said, what do we tell the council? Zethkar looked at the images of Earth on his screen, green and blue and beautiful, but now he knew the truth. It was the most dangerous world he had ever seen, and the humans who lived there thought it was paradise. We tell them the truth, he said. We have found a species that evolved on a Class 12 death world, and they want to explore the galaxy. Commander Zethkar could not sleep. For 3 days, his ship had been orbiting Earth while he tried to understand what his team had discovered. The humans had invited them to visit the planet's surface. Jake Morrison had promised to show them the most beautiful places on Earth. The alien commander was terrified. Sir, the humans are waiting for our answer, said Lieutenant Kexara. They seem excited to show us their world. Zethkar looked at Dr. Velnara and Captain Morden. Both of them looked as worried as he felt. What does our safety equipment say about the surface? Velnara checked her readings. Sir, we will need full environmental suits. The air has too much oxygen for most of our species. The atmospheric pressure is wrong. The radiation from their star is dangerous. And sir, the biological contamination. Readings are off the scale. Biological contamination? Zethkar asked. The planet is covered with living things, tiny organisms in the air and water, plants and animals everywhere. On most worlds, we would call this a biological disaster zone. Captain Morden put on his helmet. Commander, these humans survived on this world. If we go down there in full protection gear, we should be safe. 2 hours later, their shuttle landed in a place the humans called Yellowstone National Park. Jake Morrison was waiting for them with 3 other humans. There was Dr. Lisa Carter, who they had met before. With her was a man named Kevin Brooks, who worked as a park ranger, and a woman named Amy Stevens, who was an expert on surviving in wild places. The aliens stepped out of their shuttle wearing thick white suits that covered their whole bodies. Their helmets had clear faces so they could see, but the suits made them look like they were exploring a toxic waste site. The humans wore light clothes and no protection at all. Dr. Carter had on jeans and a t-shirt. Kevin Brooks wore a park ranger uniform with short sleeves. Amy Stevens was dressed for hiking with boots and a backpack. "Welcome to Yellowstone," Jake Morrison said with a big smile. "This is one of our most beautiful national parks. We thought you would enjoy seeing it." Zethkar looked around through his helmet. The place did look beautiful. There were tall trees, green grass, and a bright blue sky, but his suit's sensors were screaming warnings at him. "Mr. Morrison, our equipment shows dangerous heat sources nearby." Kevin Brooks nodded. "Oh yes, the hot springs and geysers. They are all over the park. The water comes up from deep underground. Some of it is boiling hot." Dr. Velnara almost fell over. "Boiling water comes out of the ground?" "All the time," Amy Stevens said cheerfully. "Look, there's Old Faithful. It goes off about every 90 minutes. She pointed to a cone-shaped rock formation. As they watched, a huge column of steam and boiling water shot up into the air. It went up over 100 feet and stayed there for several minutes before falling back down. The alien sensors went crazy. Captain Morden grabbed Zethkar's arm. "Sir, that water is hot enough to cook us instantly, even through our suits." "Oh, you have to be careful around the hot springs," Dr. Carter said, "but people visit them all the time. Some of the pools are cool enough to put your hand in. The really hot ones we just look at." They walked along a wooden path that went between several hot springs. The water was bright blue and green and yellow. Steam rose from the surface. The alien suits told them the water was over 200 degrees. "It's so pretty," Amy Stevens said. "I love coming here. The colors change depending on the tiny life forms in the water." Dr. Velnara stopped walking. "Life forms? There are living things in that boiling water?" "Oh yes, lots of them. Bacteria and other small organisms. They actually need the heat to live. Scientists come here to study them all the time." The alien biologist made a choking sound inside her helmet. Life that needed boiling water to survive was impossible according to everything she knew about biology. They continued walking through the park. Kevin Brooks pointed out different plants and animals as they went. To the humans, everything seemed normal and peaceful. To the aliens, each new discovery was more terrifying than the last. "Those are bison," Kevin said, pointing to a group of large brown animals grazing in a field. "They can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. Beautiful animals." The aliens stared at the massive creatures. On their worlds, animals that big were either extinct or kept in the strongest zoos. "Do they attack people?" Zethkar asked. "Sometimes if people get too close or act stupid," Amy Stevens said. "But mostly they just ignore us. You have to respect their space." Captain Morden looked at his scanner readings. The bison were not just big, they were incredibly strong and fast. They could easily kill an unprotected human. "And humans just walk around near them?" "Sure. We stay about 25 yards away unless we're in a vehicle. It's pretty safe if you follow the rules." As they walked, they saw more animals. Elk that stood 6 feet tall with huge antlers. Wolves that traveled in packs. Birds that could carry off small animals. Each one made the aliens more nervous. "There are bears here too," Kevin Brooks mentioned casually. "Grizzly bears and black bears. You might see one if we're lucky." Dr. Velnara gripped her medical scanner. "Bears? Large predators with claws and teeth?" "Yep. Grizzlies can weigh 800 pounds. They're incredible animals. I've been working here for 15 years and I never get tired of seeing them. And you are not afraid? Zethkar asked. Kevin laughed. Respectful, not afraid. Bears usually avoid people. If you see one, you just give it space and make noise so it knows you're there. Most of the time, they run away. Amy Stevens nodded. I've camped in bear country hundreds of times. You just hang your food up high and keep a clean campsite. Bears are really just big animals trying to live their lives. The aliens could not believe what they were hearing. These humans lived and worked and played in places with giant predators. They acted like it was the most normal thing in the world. They came to a viewpoint that looked out over a valley. Steam rose from dozens of hot springs. Animals grazed in the distance. Mountains rose up all around them, covered with green trees. Isn't it amazing? Dr. Carter said. This is why I love Earth. So much life and beauty. Zethkar looked at his scanner readings one more time. High radiation from the sun, dangerous gases from the hot springs. Unstable ground that could collapse. Without warning. Predators everywhere. Plants that could poison most known life forms. Dr. Carter, he said carefully, do humans consider this a safe place? She looked surprised by the question. Well, you have to be careful, like anywhere in nature. But yes, millions of people visit here every year. Families bring their children, people camp and hike. It's one of our most popular vacation spots. Vacation? Dr. Velnara whispered. They come here for fun? Absolutely, Jake Morrison said. Americans love their national parks. We have 59 of them. Yellowstone is just one of many beautiful places people can visit. Captain Morden felt dizzy inside his helmet. 59 places like this? Oh, they're all different, Amy Stevens said. Some have deserts, some have mountains, some have forests. Each one is special in its own way. As they walked back toward the shuttle, they passed a group of human tourists. There was a family with 2 small children, an elderly couple, and some young people with backpacks. None of them wore any protection. The children were laughing and running around. The elderly couple was taking pictures. The young people were planning a camping trip. Those children, Zethkar said, are they not afraid? Kevin Brooks smiled. Kids love it here. We have junior ranger programs where they learn about the park. It's important for young people to experience nature. Dr. Velnara watched a little girl, maybe 8 years old, point excitedly at a hot spring. The child was standing just a few feet away from water that could kill her instantly. Her parents were taking pictures and smiling. On our worlds, Velnara said quietly, we would never bring children to a place like this. Really? Dr. Carter looked genuinely surprised. But how would they learn about nature? How would they develop a love for the outdoors? The aliens did not know how to answer that question. On their worlds, nature was tame and safe. Parks were carefully controlled environments with no real dangers. The idea of exposing children to actual wilderness was unthinkable. As they reached their shuttle, Jake Morrison turned to the alien delegation. So what did you think? Pretty amazing, right? Zethkar looked back at the park. Steam rose from the ground. Large animals moved through the grass. Mountains loomed overhead. To human eyes, it was beautiful. To alien eyes, it was a nightmare. It is very educational, Zethkar said finally. We would like to see more of your world. Jake's face lit up. Excellent, tomorrow we can show you the ocean. The Pacific coast is incredible this time of year. As their shuttle lifted off, the aliens sat in stunned silence. Captain Morden finally spoke. Commander, they want to show us their ocean. Zethkar thought about what Earth's oceans might be, like if this was what humans considered a peaceful park. Get me a full report on Earth's marine environment, he told Dr. Velnara. I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be even more interesting. Below them, families were setting up camps for the night in Yellowstone. Children were roasting food over fires. Adults were looking up at the stars. None of them seemed to realize they were sleeping on top of one of the largest supervolcanoes in the galaxy. The next morning, the alien delegation met the humans at a place called Monterey Bay in California. Commander Zethkar and his team still wore their full protection suits, but they felt a little better about visiting Earth's ocean. On most worlds, water environments were the safest places to explore. Dr. Ryan Torres was waiting for them at the harbor. He was a marine biologist with sun-bleached hair and skin tanned from years of working on the ocean. With him was Captain Nicole Fisher of the Coast Guard, a strong woman with short black hair who commanded rescue ships. There was also Pete Anderson, a deep-sea researcher who studied the deepest parts of Earth's oceans. "Welcome to the Pacific Ocean," Dr. Torres said with enthusiasm. "We have a research submarine ready to take you down to see some amazing marine life." The aliens looked at the ocean stretching to the horizon. Their sensors immediately started giving them warnings. The water was moving in huge waves that crashed against the shore with tremendous force. The salt content was much higher than on most worlds. Strange smells came from the water. "Is the water always so violent?" Dr. Velnara asked, watching waves that were 10 feet high smash into the rocks. Captain Fisher laughed. "This is pretty calm today. You should see it during storm season. Waves can get up to 60 feet high or more." Captain Morden felt his knees go weak. 60 feet? And humans go out in that? "All the time," Nicole said. "Commercial fishing, research, shipping, the Navy. The ocean is like a highway to us. We've been sailing on it for thousands of years." They walked to the submarine dock. The HFY research vessel was called Deep Explorer, and it looked small compared to the alien shuttle. Pete Anderson checked his equipment while explaining their diving plan. "We're going to start shallow, maybe 200 feet, then work our way deeper," Pete said. "There's incredible life at every level. The ocean here is about 12,000 feet deep." Dr. Velnara almost fainted. 12,000 feet underwater? The pressure would crush most known materials. "Yeah, it's pretty intense down there," Pete agreed. "But our subs are built for it. I've been to the bottom dozens of times. It's like visiting another planet." They climbed into the submarine. The aliens were amazed at how small and simple it seemed compared to their advanced technology. But Dr. Torres assured them it was completely safe. "We've been diving in subs like this for decades," Ryan said as they prepared to descend. "Thousands of people have jobs that require them to go underwater. Scientists, welders, oil rig workers, treasure hunters." As the submarine sank below the surface, the aliens watched their depth gauges with growing horror. At 50 feet, the pressure was already dangerous by their standards. At 100 feet, it would crush most alien vehicles. At 200 feet, they should all be dead. But the humans acted like everything was normal. Dr. Torres pointed out fish and plants through the submarine's windows. Captain Fisher told stories about rescue missions she had done at these depths. Pete Anderson talked about his plans to dive even deeper later that day. "Look at that," Ryan said, pointing to a large gray shape moving through the water. "That's a great white shark, probably about 15 feet long." The aliens pressed against the windows to get a better look. The creature was massive, with rows of sharp teeth and dead black eyes. It moved through the water like a living weapon. "That is your ocean's top predator?" Zethkar asked. Ryan laughed. "One of them. But sharks are actually pretty gentle. They don't usually bother humans. More people are killed by lightning than by shark attacks." "Humans swim in water with these creatures?" Dr. Velnara asked in a shaking voice. "Oh, sure," Nicole said. "I've been diving with sharks lots of times. They're beautiful animals. Some people travel from all over the world just to swim with them." Captain Morden made a note in his report. "Humans deliberately enter water containing large predators for entertainment purposes. As they went deeper, the aliens saw more impossible things. Schools of fish that moved like living clouds. Jellyfish with stinging tentacles that could kill most known life forms. Octopuses that could change color and squeeze through tiny spaces. That octopus is incredibly intelligent," Ryan explained. "They can solve puzzles, use tools, and escape from almost any container. Some of them are strong enough to break a human's arm." "And humans interact with these creatures?" Zethkar asked. "Absolutely. Divers love seeing octopuses. They're curious animals. Sometimes they'll come right up to you and touch your equipment with their tentacles." At 500 feet, they encountered something that made all the aliens scream inside their helmets. A massive shape moved past the submarine, so big, they Could not see all of it at once. Blue whale, Pete said calmly. Biggest animal that ever lived on Earth. That one's probably about 90 feet long and weighs around 200 tons. The aliens stared in terror at the creature. It was larger than some of their spaceships. Its mouth could swallow their submarine whole. But the humans seemed delighted to see it. They're gentle giants, Ryan said. They eat tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill, completely harmless to humans. Whale watching is a huge tourist industry. Tourists pay money to get close to those things? Dr. Velnara whispered. People love whales, Nicole said. We have laws to protect them. Seeing a whale in the wild is considered one of the most amazing experiences you can have. At 1,000 feet, the submarine's lights were the only thing keeping back complete darkness. The pressure outside would instantly kill any unprotected life form from the aliens' worlds. But Pete Anderson was excited because they were getting close to his favorite research area. This is where it gets really interesting, Pete said. Down, here we have creatures that live in the deep ocean their whole lives. They've adapted to crushing pressure and complete darkness. The lights revealed creatures that looked like they came from nightmares, fish with huge teeth and glowing eyes, squid with tentacles covered in hooks, jellyfish that looked like floating ghosts. That's a giant squid tentacle, Ryan said, pointing to something moving just at the edge of their lights. The whole animal can be over 40 feet long. They fight battles with sperm whales down here. Battles? Zethkar asked. Whales hunt the squid for food, and the squid fight back with their tentacles and beaks. Sometimes dead whales wash up on shore covered in giant sucker marks. The aliens could not process what they were hearing. The humans talked about massive underwater battles between creatures the size of buildings like it was natural and normal. At 3,000 feet, they found something even more shocking. Pete pointed to lights on the ocean floor that looked like underwater campfires. Those are hydrothermal vents, Pete explained. Underwater volcanoes that shoot out water hot enough to melt lead. And look, there's life all around them. The submarine's cameras showed creatures living directly next to the deadly vents. Tube worms, crabs, and fish that somehow survived in conditions that would kill everything else in the galaxy. How is that possible? Dr. Velnara asked. Life finds a way, Ryan said. These creatures don't need sunlight. They get energy from chemicals in the hot water. It's like a completely different world down here. And humans have been down here to study this? Captain Mordun asked. Many times, Pete said proudly. I've personally made over 50 dives to the deep ocean floor. Scientists from all over the world come here to research. We've built bases and laboratories on the bottom of the ocean. The aliens looked at each other through their helmet faceplates. These humans had not just survived on their deadly world. They had explored every part of it. Even the crushing depths of the ocean where the pressure should kill them and the creatures should eat them. As they started back toward the surface, Nicole told them about Earth's weather systems over the ocean. She described hurricanes that covered hundreds of miles and generated more energy than nuclear weapons. She talked about tsunamis that could destroy entire coastlines. She mentioned rogue waves that appeared without warning and sank ships. And people still go out on the ocean during these storms? Zethkar asked. We try to avoid the worst weather, Nicole said. But ships are out there every day. The Coast Guard rescues people in conditions that would scare most folks. It's our job. When they reached the surface, the aliens were relieved to breathe the submarine's recycled air instead of the crushing water around them. But their relief did not last long because Dr. Torres had more plans. Tomorrow we can visit the Mariana Trench, he said excitedly. That's the deepest part of Earth's oceans. It goes down almost 7 miles. The pressure there is over 1,000 times what you feel at sea level. People have been there? Dr. Velnara asked weakly. Oh yes, several times. It's one of the most extreme places on Earth, perfect for testing new deep-sea technology. As their shuttle returned to the alien ship, the delegation sat in shocked silence. Captain Mordun finally spoke up. Commander, they consider their ocean a place for recreation and research. I know, Zethkar replied quietly. They swim with predators that could eat them whole. I know. They dive to depths where the pressure should crush them instantly. I know. They built their civilization on a world covered by water that moves in giant waves and is full of creatures from nightmares. I know. Commander Zethkar had not slept in 2 days. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw images of humans swimming with giant predators and camping next to volcanoes. His crew was equally disturbed. They had explored hundreds of worlds, but nothing had prepared them for Earth. Sir, the humans want to show us their natural history museum, Lieutenant Kexara reported. They say it will help us understand how life developed on their planet. Zethkar rubbed his temples with 2 of his hands. Maybe that will give us some answers. How did these creatures become so impossible? Dr. Lisa Carter met them at the Natural History Museum in Washington, D.C. With her was Dr. Greg Mitchell, a man who studied ancient life forms, and Dr. Susan Walsh, who specialized in how humans developed over time. All 3 humans seemed excited to share their planet's history. We thought you might be interested in seeing how life evolved on Earth, Dr. Carter said as they walked through the museum entrance. It's quite a story. The aliens, still in their protective suits, followed the humans into a large room filled with skeletons of ancient creatures. Dr. Mitchell stopped in front of a massive skeleton with huge teeth and claws. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Greg said, proudly. It lived about 65 million years ago, one of the largest land predators that ever existed. The aliens stared at the monster skeleton. It was bigger than anything they had seen on their worlds. How big was it? Dr. Velnara asked weakly. About 40 feet long and 20 feet tall, could weigh up to 9 tons. Those teeth were 6 inches long and could crush bones easily. Captain Morden backed away from the display. And this lived on your planet? Oh yes, along with many other large predators. Earth has always been home to dangerous creatures. Dr. Walsh led them to another display showing the evolution of mammals. After the big dinosaurs died out, mammals took over. But Earth was still very dangerous. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, massive climate changes. Ice ages? Zethkar asked. Periods when much of the planet was covered in ice, Susan explained. The temperature dropped so much that most life died out. There have been several ice ages over Earth's history. The aliens looked at each other in horror. Their worlds had stable climates that barely changed over millions of years. The idea of a planet that regularly tried to freeze all life to death was terrifying. How did anything survive? Dr. Velnara asked. Life is very tough on Earth, Greg said. Species that survived learned to adapt quickly to changing conditions. Only the strongest and smartest made it through. They moved to a section about human evolution. The displays showed how early humans developed from smaller creatures over millions of years. But what shocked the aliens was where these early humans lived. Our ancestors evolved in Africa, Susan explained, pointing to a map. They lived on grasslands with lions, leopards, hyenas, and other predators. They had to compete for food and shelter. Your ancestors lived with those predators? Zethkar asked. Not just lived with them, they competed against them. Early humans were not very big or strong, so they had to be smart. They learned to make tools, work together, and think ahead. Dr. Mitchell showed them fossils of early human tools, simple stone knives and spears that looked crude compared to alien technology. These tools helped our ancestors hunt animals much larger than themselves. They learned to kill creatures that could easily kill them. The aliens studied the primitive weapons. On their worlds, evolution was peaceful. Species developed slowly in safe environments. The idea of creatures evolving by learning to kill bigger, stronger predators was impossible to understand. But the most interesting part, Susan continued, is how humans spread across the planet. They did not stay in safe places. They went to the most dangerous environments they could find. She showed them a display about human migration, maps with arrows showing how humans moved from Africa to every continent on Earth. But the paths they took made no sense to the aliens. They crossed frozen wastelands where the temperature could kill them in minutes, Susan said. They sailed across violent oceans in tiny boats. They climbed over mountain ranges where the air was too thin to breathe properly. Why would they do that? Dr. Velnara asked. Greg smiled. Because that is what humans do. When we see a dangerous place, we want to explore it. When we find a challenge, we want to overcome it. They moved to a section about human civilizations. The aliens expected to see evidence of humans finally finding safe places to live. Instead, they found the opposite. "Look at this," Susan said, showing them pictures of ancient cities. Humans built their first cities in river valleys that flooded regularly. They settled near volcanoes because the soil was good for growing food. They built on earthquake fault lines because those areas had fresh water. The displays showed human settlements in every dangerous environment on Earth. Cities in deserts where the heat could kill. Towns in areas where hurricanes hit every year. Villages on islands that were regularly destroyed by tsunamis. Did they not know these places were dangerous? Captain Morden asked. "Oh, they knew," Greg said. "But they built there anyway." Humans have always been willing to take risks for good land, trade routes, or resources. Dr. Carter led them to a section about natural disasters throughout human history. The displays showed volcanic eruptions that buried entire cities, earthquakes that destroyed civilizations, and floods that wiped out millions of people. And after each disaster, Lisa said, humans came back and rebuilt in the same dangerous places. Sometimes they built better, but they always came back. The aliens read the descriptions of disasters with growing disbelief. Mount Vesuvius buried, the city of Pompeii. But humans built new cities around other active volcanoes. The Black Death killed 1/3 of Europe, but humans kept living in crowded cities. Massive earthquakes destroyed Tokyo multiple times, but humans kept rebuilding. Your species never learned to avoid dangerous places? Zethkar asked. "We learned to live with danger," Susan replied. "Every human civilization developed ways to survive in their environment. We built earthquake-resistant buildings. We created early warning systems for storms. We learned to predict volcanic eruptions. But what truly horrified the aliens was the next display. It showed modern human technology, all designed to help people survive in deadly environments. Spacesuits for exploring airless worlds, submarines for the deep ocean, protective gear for working near volcanoes. You see, Greg explained, humans did not evolve to avoid danger. We evolved to face it head-on. Every piece of technology we create is designed to let us go places we could not survive naturally. Dr. Walsh showed them pictures of modern extreme sports, humans jumping off cliffs with parachutes, people climbing frozen waterfalls, individuals surfing on waves that could easily kill them. "This is what humans do for fun," Susan said. "We deliberately put ourselves in dangerous situations because it makes us feel alive." The aliens stared at images of humans doing things that would be considered suicide on their worlds. Mountain climbing, deep sea diving, storm chasing, volcano photography. "On our worlds," Dr. Velnara said quietly, "these activities would be considered signs of mental illness." "Really?" Dr. Carter looked genuinely surprised. "But how do your people test themselves? How do they know what they are capable of?" The aliens did not know how to answer that. On their worlds, people lived safe, comfortable lives. They never needed to test themselves against deadly environments because they had eliminated all the dangers. "Let me show you something else," Greg said, leading them to a display about space exploration. "This is why humans want to explore other worlds. Earth taught us that we can survive anywhere if we are smart and brave enough." The display showed human plans for colonies on Mars, mining operations on asteroids, and exploration missions to distant stars. But what shocked the aliens was that humans were planning to settle on worlds that the galactic community considered uninhabitable. Mars has no air, deadly radiation, and temperatures that would freeze most life forms, Susan explained. "But we think we can build cities there within 50 years. Europa, Jupiter's moon, is covered in ice over an ocean that has never seen sunlight," Greg added. "We want to build underwater cities there. Titan has lakes of liquid methane and an atmosphere that would poison most life," Lisa said. "We think it would be exciting to explore." Captain Morden felt dizzy inside his helmet. "You want to live on worlds that would kill you?" "All worlds try to kill you," Susan said with a smile. "Earth taught us that. The trick is being tougher than the world is." As they finished the museum tour, the aliens realized something that terrified them more than anything they had seen so far. Humans had not just survived on their death world by accident. They had been shaped by it. Every part of human culture, technology, and thinking was designed around facing deadly challenges and winning. Dr. Carter, Zethkar said carefully, "What do humans plan to do when they meet other species in the galaxy?" "Well, we hope to learn from them and share our knowledge," Lisa replied. "We are very excited about seeing other worlds and meeting other people. And if those worlds are dangerous?" Lisa's eyes lit up. "Even better. Humans love a good challenge." As they returned to their shuttle, Dr. Velnara pulled Zethkar aside. "Commander, I understand now why humans seem so impossible." The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room in known space. Representatives from over 300 different worlds sat in curved rows that reached up to the ceiling. The chamber was normally a place of calm discussion and peaceful debate. Today it felt like a courtroom waiting for the most important verdict in galactic history. Commander Zethkar stood at the center podium with Dr. Velnara and Captain Mordun beside him. Above them, massive screens showed images and data from their visit to Earth. The council members whispered among themselves, their various forms of communication creating a low buzz of nervous energy. High Chancellor Varthek called for silence. She was ancient even by galactic standards, having led the council for over 2 centuries. Her species looked like tall trees with golden bark and leaves that changed color with their emotions. Right now, those leaves were dark purple, which meant she was deeply concerned. "Commander Zethkar," she said in a voice that carried across the massive chamber, "your preliminary report has caused great alarm throughout the galactic community. Tell us what you found on this world called Earth." Zethkar activated his presentation. The first image showed Earth from space, a beautiful blue and green sphere floating in the black void. "Honored Council, we have discovered a species that calls themselves humans. They live on a Class 12 Deathworld, which should make intelligent life impossible. Yet not only do they survive there, they consider it a peaceful paradise." Murmurs of disbelief filled the chamber. Council member Jextar from the Crystal Nebula sector stood up. His people were made of living crystal and communicated through light patterns. His patterns now showed confusion and fear. "Commander, are you certain about the planetary classification? No species has ever evolved on a Class 12 world." Dr. Velnara stepped forward. "Council member Jextar, we triple-checked our readings. Earth has extreme weather that could destroy cities. The ground shakes and splits open regularly. Hot liquid rock shoots from the surface. The oceans are filled with predators larger than our ships. The atmosphere contains gases that are toxic to most life forms." She brought up images from Yellowstone Park showing the geysers and hot springs. "These humans bring their children to places like this for vacation. They consider it beautiful and relaxing." The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. High Chancellor Varthek had to call for order 3 times before the noise died down. Captain Mordun activated the next part of their presentation. "The most disturbing discovery is that humans do not just survive on their death world. They actively seek out the most dangerous parts of it." Images filled the screens showing humans mountain climbing, deep sea diving, and storm chasing. The council members watched in horrified silence as they saw beings voluntarily putting themselves in situations that would kill most galactic species instantly. "They call these activities sports," Mordun continued. "They do them for entertainment. Millions of humans participate in what we would consider suicide missions, and they enjoy it." Council member Nixella from the Andromeda Spiral raised her tentacled arm. Her species lived in the safest ocean worlds in the galaxy. "Are you saying these humans deliberately expose themselves to deadly environments for pleasure?" "Yes," Zethkar replied. "But that is not the worst part." He brought up data about human expansion plans. They are not content to stay on their death world. They want to explore and colonize other planets. Specifically, they are most interested in worlds that we have classified as uninhabitable. The screens showed human plans for Mars colonies, asteroid mining operations, and deep space exploration. Each project involved humans traveling to environments that would be considered impossible for most galactic life. "Mars has no breathable atmosphere and deadly radiation," Zethkar explained. "Humans see it as their first step toward galactic expansion. They are excited about the challenge." High Chancellor Varthek's leaves turned from purple to black, indicating extreme alarm. Are you telling us that this species wants to spread to other death worlds? Worse than that, Dr. Velnara said. We believe they will be disappointed by most habitable worlds because those worlds will not be dangerous enough for them. She brought up recordings from their conversations with humans. Dr. Carter's voice filled the chamber. Humans love a good challenge. We are very excited about seeing other worlds, especially if they are dangerous and exciting. The council sat in stunned silence. Council member Zorketh from the Peaceful Gardens sector stood up slowly. His people had eliminated all danger from their world centuries ago and lived in perfect safety. Are you suggesting that these humans would be unhappy on our worlds because they are too safe? That is exactly what we are suggesting, Zethkar replied. Humans have a saying. If it does not challenge you, it will not change you. They believe that facing danger makes them stronger and better. He showed them footage of human extreme sports and exploration activities. Look at what they do on their own world. They jump off cliffs, swim with deadly predators, and climb frozen mountains. They do this because it is dangerous, not despite the danger. Captain Mordoon stepped forward with the most disturbing revelation. Council members, we have analyzed human technology and culture. Everything they have created is designed to help them survive in hostile environments. Their entire civilization is built around conquering deadly challenges. Images showed human spacesuits, deep-sea vehicles, earthquake-resistant buildings, and storm tracking systems. They do not try to avoid danger. They prepare for it and face it directly. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the translator system seemed to struggle with the concept they were discussing. High Chancellor Varthek spoke carefully. Commander, what is your assessment of human intentions toward the galactic community? Zethkar thought about Jake Morrison, Dr. Carter, and all the other humans they had met. Honored Chancellor, they seem genuinely friendly and peaceful. They want to learn from us and share knowledge, but they also want to explore worlds that we consider too dangerous to visit. They could be valuable allies, Dr. Velnara added. If we ever need to explore or work on hostile worlds, humans would be the only species capable of doing it safely. Council member Texoro from the Military Defense Coalition leaned forward. His species looked like armored warriors and were considered the toughest fighters in the galaxy. Are you saying humans might be stronger than us in combat? Not stronger, Captain Morden replied. But they are adapted to survive in conditions that would defeat any military force we know. They are not just tough fighters, they are ultimate survivors. High Chancellor Varthek made a decision that would change galactic history. The Council will now vote on humanity's admission to the galactic community. But first, I want to ask our Earth representatives to address us directly. Tyler Scott and Dr. Lisa Carter were brought into the chamber. They wore simple business clothes and seemed excited rather than nervous about addressing the most powerful governing body in the galaxy. Dr. Carter, the High Chancellor said, we have learned about your species and your world. We are impressed but also concerned. What do humans want from the galactic community? Lisa smiled warmly. We want to be friends and partners. We want to learn about your cultures and share our knowledge. Most of all, we want to explore the galaxy and see what is out there. Are you not concerned about the dangers of space exploration? Council member Jextar asked. Tyler Scott laughed. Dangers make it more interesting. Humans have always been explorers. We went to every dangerous place on Earth because it was there. Now we want to go to dangerous places in space for the same reason. But what about worlds that could kill you? Asked Council member Nixala. Those sound like the most exciting ones, Dr. Carter replied. We have some experience with hostile environments. We think we could handle whatever the galaxy has to offer. The aliens in the chamber looked at each other with a mixture of awe and terror. Here was a species that actively sought out the very things that frightened everyone else. High Chancellor Varthek called for the vote. All in favor of accepting humanity into the galactic community? Every single council member voted yes. But it was not the normal vote of welcome given to peaceful species seeking protection and guidance. It was the vote given to a powerful ally whose help might be needed in the future. Dr. Carter, Mr. Scott, the High Chancellor announced, "Humanity is hereby welcomed into the galactic community, but we are also creating a new classification system for worlds suitable for human colonization." Tyler looked curious. "What kind of classification?" "We will call them human-suitable worlds," she explained. "These will be planets that are too dangerous for any other known species to inhabit. We suspect humans will find them quite comfortable." As the ceremony ended and the council members filed out, they whispered among themselves about the implications of what had just happened. For the first time in galactic history, they had encountered a species that was not looking for safety and protection among the stars. The humans were looking for adventure. 6 months later, the first human exploration ships launched toward distant star systems. Their destination was a list of worlds that the galactic community had written off as uninhabitable, planets with toxic atmospheres, extreme temperatures, and deadly radiation.